Right, good afternoon all, and thank you for joining me today for a bit of a brief overview of coral expeditions and kind of who we are and where we go. And it's the aim being that we can provide any of you out there listening today that haven't experienced coral expeditions previously, and are considering your options in the kind of weeks, months, and years ahead. My name is Will. I'm a member of the Coral Expeditions sales team. I'm speaking to you today from sunny Cairns, which is where our head office has been for the last 40 years or so. If any of you have to leave at any time during this meeting, we do record this session and we will be reaching out to you in the next kind of 48 hours or so. Feel free to distribute far and wide to your friends and family, and hopefully we'll get to see you on board in the not too distant future. So without further ado, Coral Expeditions. So we were founded 40 years ago or so. We're based up our head office is based up in Cairns, as I just mentioned, and always has been. We started from pretty humble beginnings, just operating Great Barrier Reef itineraries, but we've greatly expanded over the last 40 years to cover about 40 different cruise destinations, both domestic and international. So the image you've got up on the screen is just a bit of an overview of where we travel, both domestically and internationally. And it's probably the Kimberley that we're most known for. We pioneered expedition cruising in the Kimberley 35 years or so ago, and I'm going to come on to that in a little bit more detail shortly. But like I say, since our pretty humble beginnings 40 years or so ago, we now operate across all of the coastlines of Australia. So we've got some fantastic itineraries over on the west coast, the Atolls Islands, Kimberley Reef, and obviously the Kimberley. We've got fantastic options down on the south coast. Across the bight, we've got some kind of food themed itineraries, and we've got an amazing range of departures, Adelaide to Adelaide, just exploring kind of South Australia's kind of wild coastline. The GBR, where it all started 40 years ago, and we still offer multiple departures each and every year, and offer kind of 7-night, really quite in-depth GBR itineraries that really kind of explore and focus on the places that don't get that kind of day tripping experience. Cape York and Arnhem Land and the Torres Strait is again an itinerary that we've been operating for many years. Tasmania, outside the Kimberley, is our second biggest domestic market, and each and every year in January, February and March, so the Tassie summer season, we offer anything from a full 16-night circumnavigation to shorter kind of 10-night bite-sized chunks on the southeast and southwestern coastline, one of which is focused around some quite significant kind of day heights. So pick that one if you're looking to kind of push yourself a little bit physically. New Zealand, we've been cruising the kind of remoter waters of New Zealand for well over 12 or 13 years or so now, and then moving further afield in the Asia-Pac region, New Guinea and Micronesia, the islands of Indonesia and the East Indies, including Raja Ampat and the Spice Islands there, so where one of the big highlights is getting to swim and scuba dive with the whale sharks. And then in early 2023, we released our latest kind of international cruise series to the small islands of Japan and the Philippines, which has proven so phenomenally successful that we've trebled the number of Japan departures for the 2025 cruise series. So it's really just to give you an overview that we're not just a Kimberley or a Great Barrier Reef operator. We've got a diverse portfolio of small ship expedition cruise products all the way around the coastlines of Australia and then across the Asia Pacific region. But it's the Kimberley that's at the core of who we are and what we do. I mentioned we pioneered expedition cruising here 35 years or so ago. And each and every year for the last 35 years, all 3 of our ships in the Coral Expedition fleet are present during the full April to late September, early October Kimberley cruise season. So we offer 45 departures between Broome and Darwin and vice versa. The itinerary is exactly the same, just obviously in reverse order. And like I say, all 3 ships in the Coral Expedition fleet are present during that full Kimberley season. So if you're looking to head into the Kimberley this season or in the years ahead, travel with Coral Expeditions, no one has the levels of expertise and experience that we offer in the Kimberley. And the Kimberley is all about that local expertise. It's got the second highest tidal range in the world, I believe, with tidal ranges in excess of 12 meters, and it's all about utilizing that local knowledge to get you guys as our clients and guests in the right place at the right time. So onto our client demographic, who do we appeal to in terms of, who wants to jump aboard any of our kind of small ship expedition cruises? So it's key to point out that we don't have any age restrictions on board any of our vessels or any of our itineraries. And we do very occasionally have, younger passengers, children jumping aboard some of our trips, but they are almost exclusively traveling as part of that wider family group where they're lucky enough to have a grandparent who's kind of paying for that big kind of bucket list family experience. But the vast majority of our guests are looking for that kind of immersive learning and unique environments, again, both domestically and internationally. They're seeking cruises focused on indigenous art and culture, again, particularly on our kind of Cape York and Arnhem Land and the islands of the Torres Strait trips, our Kimberley trips, and then beyond into those international waters in Indonesia and Papua New Guinea and West Papua and beyond. Our average age is pretty crucial to mention. So the Coral Expedition sweet spot is in that 50 to 55 plus age range. We've got a median age in the early 60s. 90% of our kind of clientele have cruised before, some of which have come from, small ship expedition cruising, but a lot of them have come from that kind of more classic big ship environment, and they're looking for that smaller ship atmosphere, a little bit more intimate, and looking to kind of immerse themselves in the kind of destinations and cultures across the varied region we travel through. And again, the vast majority of our guests are coming to experience the really kind of unique flora and fauna of the myriad itineraries and destinations that we travel to. If you're a client, not necessarily in that age range, but if you're looking for the type of experience that we offer, very, very different from that classic big ship experience, then have a little bit of a closer look at Coral Expeditions, and you're going to find an itinerary that's going to blow you away. So moving rapidly on to our fleet. I'm not going to go into too much detail today on the Coral Expeditions fleet. I try and keep this webinar to an absolute maximum of 30 minutes. It's really just to give you a bit of an overview and get you intrigued about Coral Expeditions and some of the varied destinations we go to. I highly encourage you to jump onto our genuinely excellent website where we give you full detailed day-by-day itineraries on all of our 40 plus small ship expedition itineraries. We give you full deck layouts, images, videos, you name it, it's on the website there. So again, feel free to peruse to your heart's content. But our fleet has been purpose-built to sail in the predominantly tropical and subtropical waters, which is the Coral Expeditions sweet spot. So we just have 3 ships in the Coral Expeditions fleet. Coral Discoverer, she's our oldest vessel and our smallest vessel, so it has a maximum capacity of 72 passengers at any one time and spread across 36 staterooms. And then during COVID, the COVID kind of debacle years, we launched 2 new vessels. So Coral Adventurer and Coral Geographer, you'll see on the screen. Coral Adventurer launched in late 2019, Coral Geographer launched in late 2021, so both very, very new. They're sister ships. They're a little bit bigger while still maintaining that kind of classic small group intimate experience. So a maximum capacity of 120 passengers on board, spread across 60 staterooms. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the fleet. All you really need to know at this stage is we don't have any internal cabins, so all of our cabins are outward facing. They're all en suite, and many come with private balconies, as you can see from the image on the screen there. So again, there's going to be a cabin suitable to your own kind of personal preferences and budgets as required. So CD, Coral Discoverer, we tend to keep her in domestic waters. So she's the vessel that we use for our Jan, Feb and March Tasmanian cruise series. Obviously she's present for the entire 6-month Kimberley season, and she operates down on the west coast as well as some of our other domestic itineraries. Coral Adventurer and Coral Geographer, a little bit newer than Coral Discoverer, and they've allowed us to really kind of push the boundaries of where we travel and what we can offer with the Coral Expeditions kind of expedition product. And they're the ships we utilize for some of the kind of longer kind of open ocean blue water cruises up to the small islands of Japan and the Philippines. We utilise Coral Geographer to head across the Indian Ocean, and they've just allowed us to kind of really kind of push the ball of where we operate and how we do it, while still maintaining those small group numbers and that really kind of intimate onboard experience that Coral Expeditions are known for providing. And so just a bit of an overview. With 4 decades of experience and expertise, we take you into the right place at the right time. I've touched on that in the Kimberley with the massive, 12 metre or more than 12 metre tidal ranges. We turn up at horizontal falls, a particular kind of bucket list item in our classic Kimberley itineraries, but you turn up at the wrong time of day and it's not this spectacular raging torrent of water that most people kind of expecting. It's just a bit of a slack, slightly dull, body of water. So we get you there when the tides are really popping, and that can be, first thing in the morning, it can be later in the afternoon, but we tailor it to provide that, true expedition experience and get you to see these destinations at their highlight. It's all about discovering really unique and remote destinations and cultures. We don't go to the Balis or the Boracais of this world. We cherry pick these, remote wilderness, really inaccessible or very hard to get to by kind of traditional means of transport. We tend not to go where the big ship, kind of classic cruise ship experiences go, and really focus both domestically and internationally on those remote, inaccessible destinations that are going to give you that really kind of true expedition experience. And it's all about maximizing your time ashore. Very different experience to that kind of classic big ship experience where the ship in effect is the destination. Our Coral Expeditions vessels, all 3 of them, purpose built, but they're designed to get you from A to B in beautiful premium comfort. But it's all about spending as much time as we can ashore, actually experiencing these remote destinations that, let's be honest, you've paid a considerable amount of money to experience. We do these utilising our Explorer tenders that you can see here on the screen, but I'm going to come into a little bit more detail on that shortly. It's also about sharing in the expert knowledge of our expedition crew and guest lecturers, and very much connecting and learning along the way. So we don't offer any kind of formal onboard entertainment outside of our full schedule of lectures and presentations from our kind of onboard expedition team, but also our guest lecturers that we pair up utilising their specific knowledge, be that in the Kimberley, in Papua New Guinea, in Tassie and beyond. The aim being that you can really immerse yourself, and using the image we've got on the screen, you can really immerse yourself in some of the indigenous rock art here in the Kimberley. So before you arrive and witness some of the best rock art to be found in Australia, you get to understand it. You've had a presentation on it, so when you're experiencing it, again accompanied by our guest lecturer and expedition team, you can really kind of get the most out of the rock art, the geology, the history, the culture, the flora, the fauna, and really kind of immerse and learn about the various destinations that we travel to. And it's all about engaging with local communities and cultures. And that's the same, no matter where we go, be it Kimberley, Tasmania, or beyond to our varied international departures and itineraries. But particularly focusing on the top end of Australia, so our Cape York and Arnhem Land and Torres Strait and Tiwi Island itineraries, obviously through the Kimberley as well. But into international water, we offer expeditions to Sumatra, Sulawesi, Raja Ampat and the Spice Islands. We've been going to Papua New Guinea and West Papua for I think 12, 13, if not more years. So we very much concentrate on those kind of remote communities and cultures. Some of the communities we go to in the kind of islands of Indonesia and beyond into international waters we are the only cruise ship that visits these particular communities. So you're getting genuine cultural activities that aren't kind of put on for the kind of big ship or classic big ship kind of cruise experiences. And we do all of this in true expedition style with small groups and no waiting. A major part of that is the Explorer tenders. You can see just off the back end of one of our expedition vessels there. We can on and off board our entire ship's complement in under 15 minutes, which again, very different to that classic big ship experience. There's no waiting times. You don't have your allocated shore excursion time. We can on and off board the entire ship's complement in under 15 minutes, which again means more time spent actually experiencing and enjoying the really kind of remote and varied destinations that we travel to. And we do all of this with that warm and relaxed Australian hospitality that we're known for providing, be that in the Kimberley, be that in Tasmania, but on all of our domestic and international itineraries. We are an Australian-owned company, 100% Australian-owned company. We cruise under the Australian flag, and we have an almost exclusively Australian onboard crew, admittedly with a sprinkling of Kiwis amongst them. And it means that we provide that very, very premium, whilst informal and relaxed onboard experience. So there's no dressing for dinner, there's no assigned seating, and we actively encourage that kind of open interaction with our genuinely awesome staff. We've got an open bridge policy, 24 hours a day. So you wake up in the middle of the night or you're an early riser, you can grab your coffee and go and have a chat with the captain and crew up on the bridge whenever you need to. But it's a particular feature of Coral Expeditions. You can cut and paste the kind of onboard experience that you experience in the Kimberley or Tassie or any of our domestic departures, no matter where we go. So food and wine is obviously important to any holiday, no matter the destination. And at Coral Expeditions, dining is a real celebration of great food and enjoyed in genuinely extraordinary destinations. Our approach to cuisine is about simplicity and generosity, creating dishes, bursting with flavour, made from fresh ingredients, sourced locally and sustainably wherever possible. Coral Expeditions cuisine has that kind of distinctly Australian accent, influenced by the kind of culinary landscapes of the regions we visit. So again, when we're cruising in Tasmanian waters, our seafood, our meats, our wines, our spirits, our spirits are Tasmanian. And so you can kind of immerse yourself in the kind of culinary aspect of many of the regions that we travel to as well. But from Australia's Kimberley and Barrier Reef regions through to those kind of more exotic Spice Islands, New Guinea, islands of the South Pacific and well beyond, we foster that kind of community of local providores, farmers and growers, and our regional menus champion seasonality, and they allow us to adapt our menus and source local produce at its seasonal best. As mentioned, the onboard guest experience is informal and relaxed while still maintaining that very kind of premium onboard experience. We don't have assigned seating, we don't require dressing for dinner, and we actively encourage that kind of open interaction between our guests and crew. We've got both in and outdoor kind of bar and dining areas, and there's plenty across all three ships in the Coral Fleet. There's a lot of kind of public, both in and outdoor areas that you can kind of sit back, usually I must say with a cheeky gin and tonic or glass of Chardonnay in hand, and watch the genuinely stunning vistas, no more so than the Kimberley, kind of drift by. So breakfast, you'll start your day with tempting choices from a fresh continental or hot breakfast with a la carte daily changing options. We offer a daily changing selection of plated and small sharing platter dining options that again showcase the best of the region from your voyage. Lunches showcase a selection of hot and cold dishes, from salads to cold cuts to soups and fresh local seafood and seasonal tropical fruit, both again individually plated and small sharing plates. And evenings are a lovely time to dine with hopefully new friends and reflect on a really exciting day of discovery over dinner. We welcome you on board with a seafood sharing concept dinner on the first night, and other evening meals offer a three-course dinner menu when selections are offered at your table to enjoy that table service, again from our friendly Aussie and a few Kiwi dining room staff. So all our expeditions feature a really memorable pre-dinner event ashore where we serve sunset drinks and canapes, often on a beach or a sand quay on the Great Barrier Reef, but it's always in a stunning location with a beautiful sunset view, and these casual, sundowner drinks hosted by the captain, and they're a perfect time to kick off your shoes and enjoy beer, wine, cocktail whilst mingling with fellow guests in that kind of relaxed environment. So moving on to our expert guides. So we don't outsource shore excursions to third parties, meaning we can absolutely guarantee both the quality of the onboard experience, but also when we're exploring the really kind of diverse regions that we travel to. If any of you have travelled with Coral Expeditions in the Kimberley previously, you'll probably recognise Ian Morris on the left-hand side of your screen there. He's a bit of a legend with Coral Expeditions. He's been one of our kind of guest lecturers and expedition team for well over 25 years now. And he's the kind of perfect example of the type of expedition leader, expedition team that we employ with Coral Expeditions. And then we combine it with our guest lecturers, as mentioned previously. These are selected to provide that really kind of specific, deeper knowledge, but specific to a particular region in which we cruise. I've mentioned that we don't really have any formal onboard entertainment outside of the schedule of lectures and presentations. But again, the aim being that we kind of give you guys, our guests, an immersive experience so you can learn about the history, cultures, flora, fauna, geology of the very varied places in which we cruise. So moving on to possibly the most important couple of slides in this entire presentation, and this is on our unique Explorer tenders that I've mentioned briefly a couple of times in this presentation so far. So these have been designed and built by Coral Expeditions to provide the perfect conduit between our kind of mothership vessels and the really kind of varied, predominantly remote areas that we kind of focus on. Many of these have pretty much exclusively outside of our kind of joining and departure ports. We don't have harbour facilities to rely on, so they allow us to provide that kind of true expedition experience no matter how remote the area, and again, but in both domestic and international waters. So you can read some of the highlights on the screen there, but I will just point out comfortable seating for up to 70 guests on our Explorer tenders. So our two bigger ships have 2 of these Explorer tenders, whilst Coral Discoverer has one of them. But it means we can on and off board our entire ship's complement, as mentioned, in under 15 minutes. So comfortable seating, absolutely crucial. Some of our shore excursions and water-based excursions can last 2, 3, sometimes more hours than that, and you have 2 of them a day as standard. So it means you've got a bit of comfortable seating, you've got some back support there, a sunroof or occasionally a rain roof for that occasional inclement weather. Absolutely crucial, again, considering the predominantly tropical and subtropical waters that we cruise. Using the Kimberley as an analogy, sometimes 40 or more than 40 degree heat, if you're sitting in that for upwards of 2, 3, maybe longer hours each and every day or twice a day, the enjoyment can quickly wane. So it gives you that kind of protection from the elements that the more kind of traditional Zodiac inflatables just simply don't do. And the other thing I'll point out is we have an onboard toilet on board, and this provides that kind of remote convenience and ensures that we don't have to interrupt that kind of valuable shore excursion time to run regular trips back to the mothership to use the onboard facilities there. And look, in places like the Kimberley and across the top end of Australia, jumping into the water is highly inadvisable due to the ever-present risk of those marine stingers and more importantly those saltwater crocs as well. We've got 2 300 horsepower outboards on the back. These things at top speed absolutely fly, and they allow us to cover large distances in the comfort and protection from the elements that those kind of more traditional Zodiac inflatables don't provide. That being said, we also use Zodiacs, those kind of traditional Zodiac inflatables, on all of our domestic and international itineraries, and it's up to you guys as our guests to pick and choose how adventurous or not that you want to be on a day-by-day basis. And again, using the Explorer tenders in conjunction with those unique Explorer tenders, it allows us to kind of cater to the key age demographics that we kind of appeal to at Coral Expeditions, but allows us to provide that kind of true expedition experience that Coral Expeditions are known for providing. So look, getting back to our Explorers, As mentioned, they allow us to or provide that conduit between the mothership and these kind of really remote destinations. So they're perfect for those beach landings, both wet and dry. So top left hand side of your screen is what we would call a dry beach landing, and then the top right is what we would call a wet beach landing. On the majority of places we visit, we don't have the luxury of those kind of, formal harbour facilities. So these, our Explorer tenders have got a flat bottom to them. We can get right up to the beaches. You'll see in the top left-hand side there that we just have a kind of drop-down landing craft style ramp, which allows, again, it's a flat level walk off and again back on when we're going back to the vessel, and allows us to provide, that true expedition experience, whether or not you're 21 or 81 and or ever between. So the bottom couple of images, the bottom left is the boarding procedure off one of the main decks of all of our vessels. So again, it's a flat level walk. There's no steps or ladders to contend with. You're not jumping into a Zodiac inflatable, bouncing and jumping up and down next door to the ship. Again, key particularly on the kind of 55 demographic that we predominantly appeal with. And then the middle image at the bottom, all of our explorers, so we're boarding them off one of the main decks there, and then the hydraulic platform just gently lowers them away into the water, and then away you go on excursion. And then when you come back to the ship again, it's just the same but in reverse. We cruise up to the back of the ship, we're picked up by the hydraulic platform, and you deboard a nice level walk, no steps or ladders. So it's a really simple on and off boarding procedure. We can do it in under 15 minutes, which again means plenty more time actually spent enjoying the very varied destinations that we focus on. So it's also worth mentioning that outside of the Kimberley, in places like Cape York and Arnhem Land, where the old marine stingers and saltwater crocodiles are a little bit of a problem when we want to take you guys swimming, the vast majority of our trips, again, both domestic and international, offer, pretty much a daily opportunity to get both in and under the water, and that's snorkeling and swimming and full scuba dive facilities, which I'll come on to shortly. As you can see, the Explorer tender on the screen doubles up as the absolute perfect kind of scuba and snorkel platform. And then we have a myriad of diving opportunities. So closer to home domestically, Ningaloo Reef, the Great Barrier Reef, I don't need to tell you the kind of swimming, snorkel and diving opportunities you've got there. But further afield in international waters, excuse me, so throughout the islands of Indonesia, PNG, the small islands of Japan and the Philippines, Micronesia, Melanesia, all of those kind of tropical destinations, there's a real focus on giving you guys the opportunity, if you want to get both in and under the water as many times as you want. Scuba dive facilities, it doesn't come included in the fare. I know someone has already arsacked this afternoon, so it's an optional activity. You do have to be previously scuba qualified, but in short, all 3 ships in the Coral Expedition fleet come with full scuba facilities, full dive masters on board as well. So if you are a keen scuba diver and you want to enjoy, the stunning paradise islands of Atolls of Raja, Ampat, PNG, Philippines and well beyond, let us know at the time of booking, or let your travel agent know, and they can do it on your behalf, and we can ensure that you've got a spot reserved to dive in some of the world's last remaining pristine coral reef systems across the Asia Pacific region. So just to summarise, as I'm very aware that I'm coming to the end of my allocated 30 minutes, so why choose Coral Expeditions for your upcoming trip this year or the years to follow? So it's about focusing on the destination and not the ship itself, and that's a very different prospect from that kind of classic big ship experience where the ship is the destination. We've got a true expedition ethos, and we have done since we were founded 40 years or so ago. So it's about exploring those kind of remote wilderness areas, utilising our explorers, utilising our expedition team and guest lecturers to provide that really, true blue kind of Australian style, but true expedition experience. Many claim to offer it, but not many, follow through to give you that true experience. It's that warm Australian hospitality. So we are Australian owned, we sail under the Australian flag, and we have an almost exclusively Aussie and Kiwi onboard crew. So it's that kind of laid back, relaxed experience while still maintaining those very, very premium standards. It's all about purpose built ships. So they have been purpose built to sail in those kind of tropical and subtropical waters, which is the Coral Expedition's sweet spot. They're not being kind of relocated, repurposed Antarctic or Arctic cruise ships. They're purpose built to sail in these kind of remote tropical waters, which is where we concentrate. Our unique Explorer tenders that you can see on the screen there. If you take away anything from this presentation at all, it would be those couple of slides on the Explorer tenders. They're absolutely unique to Coral Expeditions, and again, no matter the age range on board, it means that it doesn't matter if you've got a bit of a dodgy knee or a dodgy hip, that type of thing, you're not going to miss out on any of our shore excursions or at sea excursions on these Explorers. And again, we combine those with those more traditional Zodiac inflatables, so you can kind of pick and choose how adventurous or not that you want to be on a day-by-day basis. Local experience in the Kimberley and Tasmania and beyond domestically is absolutely unrivaled. If you're heading into the Kimberley, choose Coral Expeditions. We've been cruising there for 35 years now. We offer more than 40 to 45 departures each and every year. No one offers the depth and breadth of departures we offer between Broome and Darwin every single year. It's at the core of what we do, and will continue to be so in the years ahead. It's an all-inclusive experience, so all of your shore excursions, all of your food whilst you're on board. Alcoholic drinks during lunch and dinner service come included, but it would be a small additional cost outside of those kind of service times. And again, as mentioned, Australian owned, operated and flagged. You're getting that kind of true blue Australian experience. Coral Expeditions are the largest employer of Australian maritime crew, which is a bit of a sad state of affairs, but you're getting that premium Australian experience, no matter cruising in Kimberley, Tassie, the wider domestic region, but again across the full Asia Pacific region. So just coming to the end of this presentation, and I've got a couple of questions to answer as well. Hopefully this gives you a bit of an overview as kind of who we are, where we go, the kind of style of onboard experience and ashore kind of expedition experience. We run regular weekly webinars. So Kimberley every fortnight, and then outside of our Kimberley webinars, we cherry pick one of our domestic or international itineraries. They tend to run from 30 to 45 minutes, and these are the webinars different to today that really kind of delve deeply into a specific cruise series, be that Japan, the Philippines, PNG, Tassie, New Zealand, etc., and beyond. We pair up a member of the sales team like myself with one of our expedition team and guest lecturers as well to provide that really kind of detailed local knowledge. Please jump onto the Coral Expeditions website. It's a really quick and simple process to register, and like with today, if you can't join us live, we'll just send you the recording version within about 24 to 48 hours, so you can watch to your heart's content and distribute as much as possible. So moving on to some questions. Again, please reach out to us at any time, or get your travel agents to reach out to us at any time, and we're always happy to have a chat. I've had a couple that have come through today. So Wi-Fi, do we have it on board? So the short answer is yes, we do. About 12 months or so ago, Coral Expeditions spent a small fortune installing Elon Musk's, not that he needs the money, but Elon Musk's Starlink technology across the fleet. Our standard Wi-Fi comes included in the fare that you pay to Coral Expeditions, and this is going to be more than good enough to handle your kind of day-to-day social posting, keeping in contact with friends and family. If you're one of those unlucky people that has some important work or business meetings to attend, or God forbid you've got the time or energy to download the latest Netflix movies, you'd probably want to upgrade to our premium service, which does come at a small additional cost. But in short, Wi-Fi is now quicker than head office Wi-Fi's that I'm using today to have a chat with you guys. And it's going to be more than good enough for the vast majority of our guests to keep in contact with friends and family and post those all important images. How fit or physically demanding are your shore excursions? Look, in short, we cater to all. So you'll get you'll get a briefing the day prior by one of our expedition team on board to give you a kind of an overview of what we're planning for the next day. Sometimes it might Sometimes it might include a a more strenuous kind of hike to a site of special scientific interest or a viewpoint to kind of take in the spectacular views. But we'll also provide more kind of sedate opportunities for our kind of less mobile guests. So there's always going to be kind of the opportunity to kind of push yourself physically as well. We might offer a bit of a more gentle beachcomb or shorter walk as well. But it's also crucial, using our Explorer tenders, again, that you can see on the screen, that if you're the type of guest that doesn't want to head ashore on that particular excursion, you might be suffering from dodgy knees, hips, that type of thing. It's certainly not unheard of with the Coral Expeditions demographic, but we look after all of our guests, and we'll offer you a bit of a private cruise along the creeks, rivers, coastlines of the very varied destinations that we visit. Solo occupancy cabins. So absolutely, on all of our departures and across all 3 ships in the Coral Expeditions fleet, we have dedicated solo occupancy cabins. We do tend to charge a sole supplement for those cabins. With the exceptions of any particular kind of special offers that we've got. If you are a solo traveller joining me today, I would strongly advise you jump onto our website, have a look at our special offers section on the site there, and we're actually offering 17 trips, both domestic and international, where we've waived all solo supplements, again subject to our kind of limited solo occupancy cabins on board. And then the final question that has been submitted today, laundry. Do we do it? Absolutely we do. We offer a kind of full laundry service on board. Again, that comes at a small additional cost, but it does mean, particularly for some of our kind of longer itineraries, you don't have to turn up with multiple suitcases. That being said, we don't have any luggage restrictions on any of our trips. And I've seen guests turn up with anything from a small overnight bag for a 10 night 2 week trip to people turning up with multiple large suitcases. So again, no restrictions, but bearing in mind that we don't you don't have to dress for dinner, that type of thing, so you can leave the DJ or the cocktail dresses behind. But if you do get caught short, yes, absolutely, we offer a laundry service on board. And look, I've gone well over the kind of scheduled 30 minutes. If you've had to drop out at any time of this presentation, we will send you a recording in the next 48 hours, but hopefully it's given you a bit of an overview as to who we are, what we do, some of the areas that we cruise, and our kind of unique Australian kind of style of onboard experience. If you are thinking that this is the type of expedition cruise product that's going to interest you, again, please reach out to your travel agent for a little bit more information, or again, jump onto our genuinely excellent website. Full detailed day-by-day itineraries across all of our domestic and international products, loads of information on the ship walkthroughs, deck layouts, images, videos, you name it, we've got it there. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you on board soon. So look, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Hopefully we've encouraged you to jump on board one of our ships. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. If there's still a few questions coming in as we speak, and I will be reaching out to you personally after this presentation just to answer some of your queries, and we can go from there. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.